World View 2. Tearful Sight here with part 2 of the trifold dressing walls. Sorry, it ain't a little bit late at night, but this is the only time I got to do this. I had some stuff to do today, and tonight I'll be very busy and blah, 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 but you know how it goes, and you're ridiculous here. But all in all, we're going to get this part 2 going. That's right. Some, hopefully insane stuff here that you'll be sitting in the dark cringing. What I am liking how I came out about this story. And, I mean, the more I do it, and the more I think about how the ending's going to be, it's just... To me, it's coming out to be something insanely, just generating insanity. Of course, I always like a little bit of a sanity in my life. But, hopefully the ending to everybody is great. I know someone was in suspense and couldn't wait till the next chapter, but here it is. So without further ado, and hopefully you're enjoying this story, if you have not read it yet, Chapter 1, it's Trifold Dressing Walls. And, once again, this is Part 2. So, as Part 1 left off, there was a man that they came upon when they opened their front door and returned to their home, and he was doing some quacky things. Well, let's see what the man did as we reveal the next chapter. Phil and Julie was now speechless, this man standing by and slamming his fist on the table, saying, "That's it, if you don't want to send my stuff back to me, I will take the route back to the place and take my fucking stuff." Phil, in a trance of this madness, finally got the courage to scream, "What are you doing here?" The man looked up at Phil and Julie, jumped over the table, pushing another trifold wall. Phil yelled, "Stop." The man yelled, "My fucking stuff! Where's my stuff?" Running out the back door of the house, then disappearing into the woods, Phil was chasing the man. But seeing this unfold sent chills running down his back. When he turned to see where Julie was, he heard outside a disturbing scream coming from the woods. All of a sudden, a beast-looking man emerged, walking around the edges of the house like it was looking for something. Then stopped dead in its tracks, turned quickly toward Phil, and gave a grave look. Then, slowly moving in the direction of Phil, he didn't hesitate to slam the door shut and locked it. Julia just got to Phil, startled him. He yelling, "Get to the room upstairs." He turned to look back, and the creature-type man was gone. He then ran to Julie's side, and they sat in the room holding each other until they fell asleep. The next morning, they woke to a loud knock at the door. Walking to the door and peeking through the shade of the window, seeing that the police have come back. "Mr. Henderson, we would like to talk to you." Phil opened the door and was not thrilled to have them, but let them in. "We are going to get to the point. Our investigation has led us to believe that you should not take more care of your business around here. We don't need a repeat of what happened years ago. The people around here are very humble, and if something does come about, we will have to take care of the problem. And it won't be nice." "Wait, what?" Julie stood dumbfounded. Phil shook his head and just said, "Okay, I'll try." The officer just said, "Good day," then left. Phil was very frustrated, but had to get back to thinking of what to do with this house. Throughout all the aggravation the police caused, Phil noticed Julie was not there. Calling her name, she was not answering. Getting frantic, Phil was running around. "Julie!" Finally, he found her in a closet in the baby room. As he reached out to grab her shoulder, she whipped around and began to grasp onto Phil's neck. Phil screamed back, saying, "Julie, what the hell are you doing?" She growled under her breath and began to speak gibberish. Bear with me, folks. Phil had no choice but to swing Julie off his neck due to her squeezing his windpipe. He tumbled her to the floor. She hit hard into the wall. He ran to her, saying, "Julie, I'm sorry." But out of nowhere, she sprung up, pushing Phil throughout the bedroom door, sliding down the hallway, hitting his head. And she let out a demonic scream, running down the stairs in a bizarre way. Phil shook his head and started chasing Julie, and she disappeared within the house. Once again, looking and calling her, Phil was now mind blown away as he was chasing his wife. Then all of a sudden, another disturbance occurred. Two men were outside yelling at each other. Phil looked out the window and could not believe what was going on. "You son of a bitch! I saw what you did! You took it!" one man said. The other guy was yelling, "No, no, no, no!" At first, Phil thought they were talking to one another, but it turned out they were arguing with themselves. Phil watched as the two men yelled at nothing and forgot about Julie. Man one, "No, no, 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 no! You told me last week I'd have some, but you fucking lied." Man two, "Shut up! Just shut the fuck up! Every day you cry to have some, but I know what he did, and you won't shut the fuck up! Shut up!" Man one, "No, no, 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 no!" Man two started slapping the man one who wanted some, and man two screamed, "You're not getting it! Shut up! Shut up!" Phil ran out to try and break up the fight as it got more violent. The man too saw Phil coming and yelled, "Stop this madness!" Man two stopped slapping the other, and he quickly headed toward Phil, screamed at Phil now, "I saw what you did! She's dead! You son of a bitch!" He ran at Phil, and Phil ran back to the house. Not giving a chance to shut the door, Phil pushing the door. But the man was very strong, and he was scratching Phil's face. Phil was losing his grip and found the opportunity to bite the man's hand. He quickly let off the door, screaming, "You dirty bastard!" Stomping and kicking. "Bastard!" He stomped out towards the woods. Phil shutting the door to lock it, trying to catch his breath. Man one was nowhere to be seen, as Phil looked out the window and then realized Julie. He began... Oops. I lost my place. Bear with me. Bear with me. He began his search throughout the house, yelling her name. Then she popped up in the bathtub. Just sitting, taking a bath, and calmly said, "Where were you?" Phil was puzzled, shaking his head, saying, "Didn't you hear me? I was calling you and fighting off 2 fucking madmen." What? Phil then asked if she remembered. Remembered what? "You attacked me." "What the F?" Julie asked, "What do you mean? I've been in the tub. I told you I was going to take a bath." "Well, when was that?" "After the police left." "You were gone." "No, I told you I was going to take a bath." Wow. Phil was very confused. "Never mind. As long as I found you, I'll be in the room waiting." "Okay," Julie said. They sat in the room until they fell asleep, waiting for the next insane incident to happen. The next day came, and Phil jumped up to find Julie holding his chest, laying there looking at the walls, just thinking of the night before. Then a knock came from the front door. On his way down, Phil noticed another wall was down and realized that he needed to start to put them back up. Answering the door, there was no one there. Figuring that something was going to happen, he slammed the door, and 3 doors downstairs started to slam. He ran to Julie to get them out of this madhouse, but was stopped by a shadow that went into the room next to Julie. Phil called Julie's name, getting a knot in his stomach, hoping she was there. She said, "What's wrong, and what was the banging downstairs?" He was explaining while walking to the room, saying, "We need to leave this house." Then Julie screamed, "Phil!" ran into the room, and Julie was being thrown to the floor. He went to grab her, then he was thrown to the floor. As the commotion was going on, the neighbor was at the front door yelling, "Hey, Phil! Julie, you home?" The chaos had stopped. Phil and Julie were rolling all over the floor, trying to figure out what was grabbing them. They finally got themselves together and yelled back to Tom, "We'll be down in a minute." As they walked towards Tom, Tom immediately said, "Wow, you guys all right?" Noticed that they looked like they were in a tango with a bear. Phil couldn't answer. He was trying to shake off the madness that was unfolding in the house of horror. Tom looked kind of weird, and Julie was rubbing her arms. As Phil said, "Come on in." Tom looked around and started to say, "I heard some commotion from here. Thought I would check to see if you guys to see if you're all right." Phil shook his head, saying, "No, we have been having a huge problem. The walls in this house have been getting knocked over, and now there have been quite a few disturbances." "Like what?" "All I can say is it's supernatural." Tom was dumbfounded and asked if he could help. "The only thing I can do that can be done is putting up the walls. But every time I go to tend to it, something happens. Tom just said, let's begin. So they went to one wall and picked it up, and Phil said they need to be exactly in the same spot. What? Tom said, yes, 100% precisely in the same spot. Not even a centimeter off. Very little disturbance, but they were able to get 2 walls up and was on their way to the 3rd one when all of a sudden a hideous laugh came from the room downstairs. It started to cackle. They marched to the trifold wall as they picked it up and started trying to set it back to its original setup. Then they heard another wall fall. Oh, shit, Phil said, and then another. See, I can't figure out a way to gather up without... Get them up. What the hell happened there? Oh, man. So a way to get them up without another one falling. Son of a bitch. Then just when they got the wall up, the laughter started to sound as if it was on the move. Climbing up the stairs, coming down the hallway. Their hair standing up on Phil's... The hair was standing up on Phil's neck. Louder laughing grew outside the door, covering his ears. Phil screamed, "Stop!" As they stood there looking at the door, the laughing stopped. But just as Tom asked, what the hell was that? A hideous figure ran in the room, laughing up to Phil's face. He screamed and fell back into the wall. Tom trying to push the figure out, but fell through it as it laughed louder. Phil and Tom knew there was no fighting this. Giving a sign to get ready to run, as they ran down the stairs, the laughing picked up and just got more demonic. Julie sat in the kitchen for all this. And when the men reached the kitchen, their faces were white, and Tom's face was even whiter. Julie hugging Phil, asking if he was all right. Tom said he needed to leave. Phil thanked them. As all this was going on, the laughing stopped. Phil and Julie were still holding each other, waiting for the next insane incident. They made their way to the guest bedroom, thinking of what to do. Falling asleep late and waking up to the sunbeams in the window, Phil just shaking his head, saying to himself, the cops won't help. The neighbor is now terrified of the chaos that unfolded before his eyes. Phil really needed to end this, and time was running out. So he began another search to see if there was anything else he needed to know about this house. Leaving the house, Phil and Julie went to the town hall to find anything about the history of the house. As they reached the town hall, they were at the top of the stairs looking for the main office. When they found the room they needed to be, they were just about to walk in. A woman emerged, a skinny, bony woman who was babbling to herself. Julie and Phil were stunned and freaked out by the look. She was reading paperwork, then entered another room. Then when she came back to the hallway, she stopped dead in her tracks, looked oddly at the couple, and asked, "Can I help you?" As they stood there trying to think what to say because of all the bizarre look she had. Then in a strange toned voice said, "Well?" Phil started off quickly. "Yes, I was wondering if you can get me the documents for my house at 636 Riverside Road." The woman's face had changed, and Phil and Julie started to feel uneasy. Then the woman began to rant. "What did you do? Why do you want this information? What did you do?" Phil started to get terrorized by this woman. Julie said, "We need to leave." As they were walking away, the woman began to get louder. The words this person was saying started to not make sense. Then again yelled, "What did you do?" Then a man from the office the woman entered previously. He was strange. Also just a creepy image that when Phil and Julie started to walk fast. Bear with me. Uh-oh. I forgot to pause that. Sorry, folks. So I had to fix that. When Phil and Julie saw him, they started to walk fast. He kept asking what's going on. All of a sudden, down the opposite side of the building, a door slammed shut. They figured past the hallway to another room. Everyone was watching this unfold. The man asked what was that. The woman looked at the couple with a rage in her eyes. "What did you do?" Babbling as she started walking toward them. "You started it again. You made it come back." It felt like slow motion, but they finally got to their car. The yelling stopped. Phil started the car, both looking toward the doors of the town hall and thinking they were out of the madness. The woman, out of nowhere, slammed on the driver's window, screaming, "What did you do?" Phil sped off. Sorry for the little goof-ups, but dang it. I had a couple pauses and interruptions, but I think I got it. Of course, I forgot to write in that. Just a creepy image that when Phil and Julie saw them, started to walk fast. Yes, forgot to put that in last night. Whoops. But yes, this is part 2. Like I say, apologize for the goof-ups. Dang nabbit. But let me know in the comments what you think. Once again, this is Trifold Dressing Walls, part 2. Part 3 coming soon. Anybody knows the insanity that's unfolding here? Hopefully the ending that I have for this will be very delightful and everybody enjoys. But once again, this is part 2 and part 3 coming soon. Until that next video, folks, sit back, relax, enjoy the next chapter. Always. Because you'll never know if you'll need them trifold dressing walls. Wait until you understand when I reveal what they're for. Sweet dreams, folks. out.